Good morning, everybody. We're going to make a start. So, Minister Coveney, guests, and Version 1 colleagues. My name is Louise Lahaff, and I'm our Director of People and Strategy here at Version 1. And I would like to welcome you to our headquarters here in Dublin this morning for what we hope, despite the weather, will be a very positive start to 2023 as Enterprise Ireland delivers its end-of-year statement. I'd like to welcome a special guest this morning, Minister Coveney, who was kind enough to give us his time in 2019 to open our new Cork office in Lapskey. And I'm sure, as the proud Cork man you are, you'll be pleased to hear that since that visit when we were 30 people, we've now grown to 85 and still growing strong from there. Government representatives can get harshly criticised these days, but rarely do they receive thanks. So I'd like to thank you, Minister, for your public service, and we thank you in particular for the hard work you've done on Brexit in particular, which had the potential to be a very unsettling event for businesses like Version 1. You take on the enterprise brief with record numbers of people employed in Ireland. We ourselves here in Version 1 had 323 new starters here in the country last year. And indeed, they were in the country because those roles are based not just here in Dublin, but in Cork, in Galway, in Mayo, in Portlaoise, and everywhere in between, as we've embraced the remote working and hybrid working that the last few years has allowed for. Enterprise Ireland has supported us in so many ways, through funding our research and development, by helping us build our innovation lab, and by supporting our graduate academy and ESG programmes, all of which we are very grateful for. Enterprise Ireland have really challenged us to grow, to export, and have been key to helping with our expansion. We have watched with a little bit of wry amusement as overseas companies have been lauded for adding 100 jobs here and there when we've doubled since 2020. 2022 certainly wasn't without its challenges. The availability and cost of accommodation has certainly been a constraint of growth for us, and competition from those overseas companies has contributed to high salaries and rising costs. But we will overcome these challenges, as we always have and we always will. One of our 6 core values here at Version 1 is no ego. And sometimes that means we don't shout about our achievements very much, but we're going to shout a little bit today, because we start 2023 with over 3,000 people employed at Version 1, half of whom are here in Ireland. Ireland's future and growth will continue to be dependent on Irish-founded companies like ours that grow globally, and Version 1 will continue to be one of those. We wouldn't be where we are today without Enterprise Ireland's support, and we are very committed to adding more flexible and sustainable jobs here in Ireland, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you again, and with that, I'll hand over to Terence O'Rourke, Chairman of Enterprise Ireland.
Thank you, Louise. Minister, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Díobh go léir agus Curran Fáilte Chrí Rih Cork and Seohar Maidin. I'd like to warmly welcome you to this morning's announcement of Enterprise Ireland's end-of-year results for 2022. I'd particularly like to extend a warm welcome to our newly appointed Minister, Simon Coveney. Minister Coveney takes up his new ministerial portfolio at a critical time for Irish enterprise. I think we're all well aware of the headwinds facing our businesses and their staff. They were certainly blowing strongly in 2022, and we don't expect the pace to lessen in 2023. And our CEO, Leo Clancy, in a few minutes will touch on these in his presentation, and he outlined how Enterprise Ireland will continue to assist Irish businesses on their growth journey. However, as today's results will demonstrate, in 2022, Irish enterprise has shown a remarkable ability to adapt to the enormous domestic and international challenges and to remain focused on growth, job creation and innovation. And it's that resilience, vision and determination among the Irish businesses that we support that is at the heart of the very positive employment results we are announcing this morning. And I'd like to pay particular tribute to those companies, their management and their staff for their success in 2022. Starting and growing an export-focused business takes enormous energy, belief and courage, and above all, I think, ambition, as shown by our hosts here this morning. Enterprise Ireland, our job is to assist, to mentor and to guide those companies on their growth path. But we're acutely aware that the risk, the ambition and the drive to succeed comes first and foremost from our entrepreneurs and the business owners in every corner of Ireland. So I just want to give a special mention to Version 1, who are doing just that, adapting, competing and winning new business in a rapidly changing, competitive and uncertain environment, providing digital transformation services to some of the biggest companies in the world. So we're very grateful, Louise, to you and your team for giving us the lend of the hall this morning. 2022 has been Version 1's best year to date for multiple reasons, hitting its highest ever annual revenue performance, while at the same time voted as one of the best large workplaces in Ireland. And we also particularly welcome the company's plans to grow employee headcount further in 2023. So I'd like to thank Louise Lahif, Andrew Langford, who's the CFO, and Joe O'Brien, the CCO, here this morning. Tom O'Connor, the CEO, unfortunately can't be with us today, but we wish him and all the team here in Version 1 the very best for 2023 and beyond. Enterprise Ireland supported companies like Version 1 play a vital role in the Irish economy, employing more than 218,000 people in cities, towns and villages right around the country, and making an enormous contribution to local economies and communities. I know Minister Coveney has a deep understanding of the Irish enterprise sector. As an outstanding Minister for Foreign Affairs and in previous roles, he's worked very closely with us in Enterprise Ireland and the companies we support to drive exports, to showcase Irish innovation and to make critical business connections in overseas markets. That's vital work that the Minister has particularly helped us with, that work of our ministerial teams is deeply appreciated by the companies we support. And of course, we might also mention, and that as a constituency TD for Cork South Central, the Minister, like Enterprise Ireland, have an important 25th anniversary this year, elected as he was for the first time in 1998. So on behalf of the Board of Enterprise Ireland, can I say we look forward to engaging with the Minister and his departmental officials as we chart the next decade of growth for Irish enterprise. Last year, when I was introducing the end-of-year results, I referred to the extensive consultation that we had engaged in when we were designing our new 3-year strategy, Leading in a Changing World, just launched a year ago this month. So I'm glad to say that our team's constant engagement with Irish businesses continued during 2022. We listened and we learned a lot, and we'll continue to deepen our engagement further over time. So with these results today, as Leo will outline in a few minutes, we are meeting and exceeding the first year of our strategic targets in the 2 key areas of job creation and startup support. However, Irish business needs to continue to focus on ensuring it is ready to compete in an increasingly challenging global environment. One area of our strategic goals that we will increasingly focus on is the area of climate action and the wider sustainability agenda. So in Enterprise Ireland, we are actively working to help companies to develop and implement sustainability plans addressing the increasingly important issue of energy efficiency as well as decarbonisation. In the last year, the agency has introduced a range of funding supports under the Green Transition Fund. These include training and business planning supports and funding for capital investment in decarbonisation and energy monitoring. Finally, at the heart of the progress made over the last 12 months is the entire team of Enterprise Ireland, led by our CEO, Leo Clancy, who completed his first full year in office in 2022. I know it firsthand, and I must, on behalf of the Board of Enterprise Ireland, and thank my colleagues there too, for the work that the Enterprise Ireland team does. And we know that it makes a tangible and real difference to businesses across the country, day in, day out. So I want to acknowledge the work of the Enterprise Ireland colleagues and their contribution to the very positive results we're announcing today. So now I'd like to invite the Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment, Simon Coveney, to address us. Thank you.
Slightly wobbly microphone, my apologies. First of all, good morning everybody and Happy New Year. This is my first official engagement as Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment, and I'm really pleased that it's happening here in version 1, an extraordinarily successful and ambitious company. And I want to thank the version 1 team, Louise, Andrew and Joe, for hosting us this morning and welcoming us here. And I think it is a fitting location, given how the performance of this company reflects in many ways the broader positive results of Enterprise Ireland that you'll get more detail on from Leo in a few minutes' time. It's also great to be here in person, as I know that we are all at the start of 2023 hoping that we can firmly put the impact of the pandemic behind us. 2022 was a challenging year, to put it mildly. As we emerged from the grip of the pandemic, Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine stemmed broader market instability and concerns around issues such as supply chain, energy costs, and inflation in a way that really impacted in a dramatic way on many businesses across Ireland and across the world. But in that backdrop, the results that we're announcing this morning are yet more proof of the strength, the resilience, and the adaptability of Irish businesses as we continue to grow our presence on international markets. So I want to extend my particular thanks to Enterprise Ireland staff, also to my team from the department, but Enterprise Ireland staff both at home and abroad for all that you've achieved, given how difficult the past couple of years has been, which makes the results being announced today even more remarkable. When your 2021 results were announced around this time last year in a virtual setting, as you'd expect, our economy and society were still facing the twin challenges of Brexit and the ongoing pandemic. Less than a month later, a third and more existential threat emerged in the context of Putin's aggression against Ukraine. These challenges, as well as the wider global challenge of climate change, are being faced resolutely by enterprises. And I'm proud to say they are strongly backed by government, and I hope you feel that. Billions of euro have been provided to help businesses so far, responding as we continue to try to help those who need assistance as long as is necessary, with a particular focus at the moment on the high cost of energy being experienced. Enterprise Ireland, through the implementation of a range of government-funded schemes for businesses and entrepreneurs, has helped to protect hundreds of businesses and safeguard tens of thousands of jobs, and we will continue to do so. Along with the network of local enterprise offices and communities across the country, and of course the overseas team, Enterprise Ireland has been central and pivotal, in fact, in delivering a national response. The results that we're announcing today for 2022 are very strong, and I'm happy to say particularly so from a regional perspective outside of Dublin. 64% of new jobs were created outside of Dublin, and 68% of your total client employment is now outside of Dublin. There was growth in every region, and this demonstrates clear delivery, I hope, of the government's policy of balanced regional development right across the country. And version 1 is a good example of that, not just in the context of Cork, but indeed in other parts of the country as well, Galway, Mayo, Portlaoise, and indeed facilitating flexible working arrangements for so many of your team now to allow them to work from home as well as in offices like this one. There was also strong performance in the climate, sustainability and agri-tech sectors, showing a 13% job growth last year, and also in the digital technologies sector with a 9% growth overall. These results give us a really strong platform on which to grow further and in a sustainable way this year. Together with equally strong results from the IDA announced in December, we are in a very good position to continue to grow our economy, create more sustainable jobs, and further development develop a thriving enterprise sector, which of course is all about contributing to the kind of society that we want and that we want for future generations. Just at the end of last year, my department, with then Taoiseach Leo Varadkar and Minister of State English and Cleary, launched two very important and pivotal strategic documents to set us on a path for the future. The White Paper on Enterprise and the Progress Report on SME Task Force's National SME and on Entrepreneurship Growth Plan. Together with Enterprise Ireland's three-year strategy, which was mentioned by Terence earlier, Leading in a Changing World, we have set out clearly what we believe are the opportunities and challenges facing enterprise, and more importantly, how the state will respond to those challenges to help businesses overcome them and thrive. Whether that be the lasting effects of the pandemic, wider economic and geopolitical developments, digitalisation and decarbonisation of industry, it's a big list. The 7 priority enterprise policy objectives in the White Paper and the implementation of the SME Task Force recommendations are closely aligned with the objectives contained, as I said, in the Enterprise Ireland strategy, as you would expect, because we're all on the one team. Our shared agenda is clear: to achieve a regionally balanced enterprise ecosystem for entrepreneurs to thrive, to support ambitious companies of all sizes to access funding and expertise, to strengthen leadership, management capabilities and skills, to foster diversity in the workplace and across businesses. Our advantages also as an investment destination must never be taken for granted, and I can assure you they won't be as long as I'm Minister. The inevitable focus of multinational enterprises on climate adaptation and mitigation brings opportunities for our SME sector, which we need to ensure we benefit from, through leveraging our green transition as a core element of our proposition to overseas investors. By strengthening the linkages between our foreign-owned and local firms, including high-potential startups, we can help to embed these businesses in FDI value chains, further strengthening our domestic economy. We can also do this by strengthening our approach to clustering businesses throughout all regions, and our ambition for this is set out very clearly in the White Paper. At country and indeed at regional level, I welcome the commitment by Enterprise Ireland to work ever more closely with the local enterprise offices to ensure that companies of all sizes in manufacturing and international traded services are assisted on their development journeys. The extension of the LEO mandate to work with prospective exporters that have grown to over 10 and up to 50 employees will contribute to the government's target of an additional 2,000 exporters, as committed to in the White Paper and indeed in the SME Task Force. To grow our export base and further strengthen our economy, we need more starting, scaling and exporting firms, growing in all parts of Ireland. To help businesses, we need to build on successful interventions, like the digital and green transition funds. Interventions need to assist businesses to take advantage of the opportunities of the twin transitions of digital and green. Indeed, businesses like Version 1, where we're here today, know all about both of those things. The employment base in Ireland is already strong. Strong evidence further of the very strong jobs figures today being announced by Enterprise Ireland. 2021 was a record year for employment creation in Enterprise Ireland companies. And to see a further 5% increase in total employment in 2022 shows the potential we have to continue to go from strength to strength. I was talking to Terence earlier about it, and 2021 was the highest year on record of jobs growth. In 2022, despite all of the challenges that our companies have faced, we almost met the same number, just under 11,000 net extra jobs. An extraordinary figure when you look at the headwinds and the storms that we've had to navigate, that companies have had to navigate over the last 12 months. Imagine what we could do if we had a period of stability and certainty, which is unlikely, by the way, anytime soon. But imagine what we could do. I've been saying that about politics, by the way, for a long time. And then Brexit came along, and then the war came along, and then COVID came along. And I'm afraid life in business and life in politics is now about managing uncertainty and things that come out of left field that you're not expecting, and having the strength and the resilience and the adaptability not only to be able to respond to that and survive, but actually try and derive the competitive advantage from those crises that can allow new ecosystems within our business environment to grow and to offer solutions to help others through those storms, but in doing so, to create the kind of technology and intelligent companies that Ireland is becoming so good at fostering and producing now. But we can't be complacent, and we need to continue to focus on the right things to further build the resilience of businesses and to keep innovation, most importantly, at the heart of it all. The real positive of today's results that I referred to earlier is, I think, the regional balance in terms of both new jobs and created total employment. More than 147,000 people outside of Dublin are now employed by Enterprise Ireland client companies, making an enormous contribution to local economies and communities up and down and across the country. The government's target to have a record of 2.5 million people employed by 2024 has already been comfortably exceeded. Enterprise Ireland has also exceeded its own employment target for 2022 with these results that we're announcing today. I firmly believe that with a strong focus on innovation, digitalisation, sustainability and regional development, Ireland's Enterprise Ireland companies will continue to enhance their significant contribution to growing and maintaining quality jobs in every part of this country. So I want to finish by saying thank you to Leo Clancy and to the entire Enterprise Ireland team for your endless commitment and dedication to the companies that you're working with. Your success really has been phenomenal. These companies and entrepreneurs rely on your expertise, at times your advice, practical assistance, and yes, funding too, in delivering on their potential. But they give so much more back to Irish society and to the Irish economy than we can ever give them. Their success is our success, as they give back so much, as I said, to broader Irish society, particularly at times like we're living through at the moment. So I want to wish the Enterprise Ireland team well in the work that they continue to do, and I hope that together we can ensure that 2023 can be an even better year again, with more successes for you and for your client companies. Finally, can I just say it's a real privilege for me to become a minister in this portfolio. I hope that the experience that I've had in other portfolios, whether that was agriculture and the food industry, which I know version 1 is very much embedded in as well, or indeed a Minister for Foreign Affairs, I hope that together with fantastic state agencies like Enterprise Ireland and the IDA, who I'll be with later on today, and with a fantastic department, that not only will we set high expectations, but we'll be able to deliver on them together as well. And I'm really looking forward to that challenge. So thank you very much, and I look forward to some of your questions later on.
Thank you, Minister, and good morning, everyone. We're delighted to welcome you all to the announcement of Enterprise Ireland's annual results for 2022, and special thanks to Louise and the great team at version 1 for hosting us today. You're a wonderful example of what we aspire for Irish companies to achieve in terms of your business success, your continued growth, and the high quality employment that's evident here this morning when we meet your colleagues. Thank you for having us here on what's a very special day in our calendar. So I'd also like to add my thanks and recognition to Minister Coveney and wish him well in his new role. He's been a long supporter of Enterprise. I've worked with him in my previous career in IDA on many matters that are Enterprise related, even though they didn't fall within his own brief. And I very much look forward to working with him, and I know that's true for the entire Enterprise Ireland team. So we're here to talk results, and I'm glad to announce, as you've heard already, I think the thunder's been stolen already this morning, but I'm glad to announce that maybe I'll announce it. There we go. That this agency has recorded very strong job growth among our clients for a second year, as the Minister said, following a record year of job additions in 2021, which did come after a very tough 2020 where business held its own in very challenging circumstances. We saw 19,660 new jobs created, ahead of our annual target of 15,000 set for this strategy period. And we've seen this lead to a net addition of nearly 11,000 jobs, bringing the workforce in Enterprise Ireland supported companies to over 218,000 people employed. And a key factor, as the Minister's touched upon, in jobs created by Enterprise Ireland supported companies is that they show up outside of Dublin to a very large extent. 64% of the new jobs created have been across Ireland outside Dublin, and that's a very strong proposition that we aim to continue to drive on behalf of Ireland. The examples on the right that are coming up now are examples of great expansions in Monaghan and Louth, in Kerry, in Clare and Limerick, and they're just a sample of the regional investments being made all over Ireland by great Enterprise Ireland companies. And the strength of companies across Ireland has led to continued growth in all regions in 2022, which is really positive. Employment has been growing strongly across the board. And it's great to see regions like the southeast and the west of Ireland matching and exceeding that growth in Dublin. And with announcements like those in the previous slides, we expect those job growths to continue and to be built upon in coming years. That leads to a situation where we continue to have 68% of jobs in Enterprise Ireland supported companies outside of Dublin. And again, as I said, that's an absolutely key metric for us. Now, this strong performance in regions and across all the regions of Ireland, speaking to the Minister earlier, we're going to work on the metaphor and the language around regions, because as everyone knows, Dublin is also a region. So we need to start thinking about Ireland in a more holistic way. But that performance across Ireland has been matched by very strong performance across all sectors. So we have seen that the strongest, thankfully and fortunately, has been in climate sustainability and agri-tech. Those are sectors that have huge relevance globally and huge potential for Ireland. I think we're only at the start of tapping the potential of those three sectors, and it's great to see job growth leading in those areas. We also see continued strength in technology and services, despite the headwinds that we're seeing in certain global markets. It continues to be an area of strength for Ireland. And we've seen high-tech construction as a continued growth sector for Ireland, building on strong experience over the last 30 years of building the most world-class facilities in the world. Those Irish companies in construction are now in demand all over the world. Now, food, our largest single sector, is a lower growth story in terms of percentage growth. We've got to remember that this is a huge sector, the dominant one in our base, employing nearly 56,000 people across Ireland. So 2% in the context of that very strong base is a good performance. We've also got to remember, and the Minister will be aware of this from his agriculture background, that the food sector supported by Enterprise Ireland is the food processors and the people who add value to food. That enables a massive rural economy in terms of farm incomes and rural communities. And that's something that Enterprise Ireland needs to remember. It's not just about the jobs, although the jobs are wonderful in this sector. It's also about enablement. Now, so in addition to the jobs results, I wanted to touch on some key priorities for Enterprise Ireland that go hand in hand with our core mission of growing export-oriented jobs in Ireland. We have a stated aim of ensuring that more Irish companies start and grow to address key global markets. And in 2022, we supported 161 early stage companies. 91 of these were supported at seed stage through our high potential startup program, a great result given the global challenges last year. But notably, we also supported 70 pre-seed companies. Those are companies that are starting out in their journey with 1 or 2 employees, trying to make a mark and 44 of those were supported through a pre-seed start fund that was only launched in September 2022. So we saw a great acceleration towards the end of the year in supporting startups. And I was asked on Morning Ireland this morning, is now a good time to start a business in Ireland? I'd say now is a great time to start a business in Ireland. I see Jenny Melia, who led our startup division up to recently, smiling at me. Now is a great time to start a business in Ireland. We have a wonderful ecosystem. We have great support from Enterprise Ireland. This will continue to be a growing and key priority for us. Now, we also have a mandate globally. So Enterprise Ireland has a team of over 150 professionals across the world who help our companies directly in understanding, evaluating and accessing markets and opportunities. Just last year, 1,270 contracts were secured with the assistance of those Enterprise Ireland colleagues by companies in overseas markets. And we also saw 238 client companies enter new markets, again informed by the on-the-ground experience and expertise of our colleagues who are industry leaders that we've brought into Enterprise Ireland, who've helped them build their businesses across the world. And despite global headwinds, we saw in an extensive survey of our exporting companies that Irish firms remain very positive about new markets, with 91% of those surveyed expecting export growth in 2023. So I am absolutely delighted with these great results on both jobs and on some of our future-oriented metrics as we go into 2023. But we are entering year 2 of what is a very ambitious strategy for Enterprise Ireland. And I wanted to take stock of where we are, as well as the reflections we've just had on 23, but also have a look forward at some of the factors that are going to influence business. First of all, just to recap on our strategy very briefly, it's built on 5 pillars ranging from our core mission of regional job creation enabled by export growth, through to our commitment to be the best in the world at what we do as an agency. We aim to grow and scale Irish enterprise in the clear context of a commitment, among other things, to productivity and challenging targets in respect of reducing carbon emissions by enterprise. And the next slide here contains a couple of the key KPIs that we use to measure whether we're making progress on that. Job growth, export growth, and innovation are all ahead of the targets we've set for them at this point in the strategy, and that's really positive. On carbon emissions reduction, our targets are in respect of 2030 for the enterprise sector, and we've laid a huge amount of groundwork for this target during 2022, which we'll build strongly upon during this year. Growing productivity is a key metric for us also, and we will measure this for 2022 based on our upcoming annual business review. But we're also very focused on operational excellence, innovation and digitalization as enablers of this strategic ambition, and we have all the tools available to us to address this. It's been highlighted in the white paper for enterprise. It's going to be a key focus for us to make sure Irish companies stay fit and ready for global markets. So I think though, so this is great in terms of where we're at on a 3-year context, but we take nothing for granted. And I think what will be top of most people's minds as we come into 23 is that we face a huge amount of uncertainty. As the Minister said, it's hard to say anything about where things will go in 23, and the terms polycrisis and permacrisis have been used in recent months. I don't want to go into all the way to those because I think there's huge opportunity out there as well. But if you look at the trends to the left-hand side of this slide, you'll see there are lots of factors which may affect Ireland's local and relative competitiveness in global markets. Energy and inflationary factors are probably the most immediate, but they're in the context of an uncertain global political and fiscal environment and continuing uncertainty related to the relationship between the United Kingdom and the European Union. The horrifying fact of Russia's war in Ukraine is a deeply, deeply troubling backdrop for all of these other challenges, and one that we will be keeping a close eye on. The factors on the right are both challenges and opportunities in my view. Ireland has a very strong proposition for business. If we can continue to work cleverly with our increasingly skilled population, our technology capabilities, our receptiveness for opportunities in global supply chains, that open business-friendly environment will serve us very well. And as we saw in previous slides, sustainability is not just a challenge, but represents a significant opportunity for Ireland. However, on balance and notwithstanding the causes for optimism, I do think we enter 2023 rightly concerned about factors that may impede growth for companies, and that's going to be a key focus for Enterprise Ireland this year. And in 2023, we'll focus on a number of key areas in respect of our clients' future prospects. Firstly, and always, we continue to prioritise job creation, but we'll also be very focused on measures to sustain jobs in those companies most vulnerable and exposed to the global factors I just discussed. And while looking at that context and managing today's crisis, we need to ensure that we're not just supporting companies for today, but helping them build their competitiveness for the future, ensuring they can show up in global markets sustainably with high quality, innovative and digitally enabled products. And we remain deeply focused on our work in export markets, helping our companies expand and diversify their sales worldwide. This country, through companies supported by Enterprise Ireland and IDA, has just over 500,000 people directly employed in export-oriented business, out of 2.6 million employed. The 2.1 million of us that don't work in those export-oriented businesses depend on the wealth that's brought back to Ireland by export-led businesses. And we need to be careful at a time of full employment, notwithstanding crises, not to forget that the well-being of this country depends significantly, as a small island and a small economy, on the wealth creation that we have through doing well around the world and doing well for other locations around the world. And I think as Irish people, we have the capability to get both aspects of that right, doing well for ourselves, but also doing good for the places that we work in and invest and trade with. And last but not least, as you'll probably have seen in the Enterprise White Paper, we are aiming to grow the base of large Irish companies by 50% by 2030. And this will require focus on those companies with most potential to grow and on new strategic initiatives to support that growth. If we get this formula right, I expect we'll see new Irish leaders join the ranks of Kerry, CRH, Kingspan, Ryanair and others. And I think in this building, with the team from version 1, we see that kind of ambition. I had the fortune of meeting the team earlier and having a chat about ambition for Irish business. It is the single biggest ingredient in future success for companies. I know Tom can't be with us today, but Tom and the team he's built has taken this company to a point where you guys are now the largest by a long way Irish-owned tech company, and we're hoping to see great things from you in the coming years. So congratulate you on your growth, and you are a great example of what we want to see across sectors for Ireland in terms of Irish-owned enterprises, staying Irish and becoming the new global leaders. So you'll be delighted to hear that. Subject to one more click, that is me nearly done. I'd like to thank you all once more, though, for your time and for attending here, particularly the press corps who've taken their time to be with us. You're always very good about engaging with us on our story and understanding where we're at. Equally, we will have an opportunity very shortly to answer your questions, and we look forward to that continued engagement. We're very happy today to announce the continued positive growth of jobs in Ireland. As others have said, this doesn't happen by accident. We have a government system that is fully behind enterprise. We have a team in our Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment that are wonderful partners, Tommy, Pauline and colleagues, who enable us to get on with our job. And we have a brilliant team at Enterprise Ireland, in Ireland and across the world, that make things happen. None of it happens, though, without business. This is all about the Irish business, the great Irish business that continues to have ambition, be brave, invest and grow. And that's what it's all about for us. So thank you one and all to everyone.